Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1422, 1422, and I'm Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valleymont. Today, Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster, the news segment called The Mike Tip, and we'll discuss divas in radio. No. If you work in radio, you encounter divas.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
There's male divas. They're funny. Hey, now
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Remember a time when I lived in Ventura and I lived in a tiny duplex, and some things in my life would perplex me. And that included, hey, I don't have enough storage in my tiny 500 square feet apartment. So what do I do? And this is the question that I would ask you. What would you do?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
You'd move, right? Well, I had my, when I got married, I had even less space. So
Mike's
I had these 4 totes
Daily
filled with my personal
Podcast
memories, like photographs and stuff.
Yeah!
And I had to put them outside, right outside the duplex, like in this little backyard area, which wasn't a backyard area. It wasn't fenced off. So I put a tarp over them to hide these totes. Luckily, nothing ever happened. Nobody went over and rummaged through them or took anything out of them. That would have sucked. Oh, look who walked in. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
Now that's kind of ridiculous. You need to move to a place other than California where there is lots of room. But I caution you, Mike.
You caution me?
Do not move to New York City.
New York City!
Look who else walked in.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, boy.
Thank you. Yeah, there was no room for my root beer either. I don't ever buy root beer, so...
What?
Yeah. I know, shocking. But yeah, there was no room, and so that's how it was, and I lived like that for a couple of years, and nobody got into my totes. And what's funny is I still have those totes, and so now I have to call the show Totes, don't I? Write that down before I forget. Totes. I knew this person that I recently was a friend with, and I don't know if I'm
And here's today's podcast picture.
still friends with them, but many times when we were talking back and forth with the text, she would write totes, and then she'd use a little, I think it was an emoji for purses. So the podcast picture today is of me and a couple of dogs, including Basil the Boxer. You can see that picture now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Also, at that wonderful website is where you can find a plethora, a whiz-bang, a lot of things. Go there now, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. You can also help out the show, too, through the Amazon link. Buy whatever it is you were going to buy on Amazon. I don't know, maybe something illegal. Can you buy illegal things on Amazon? Hey, buy those Eclipse glasses. Oh my God, I'm so happy that after today, after actually 11 o'clock my time, people are going to shut up about the Eclipse. And then they'll talk about the ellipse. Oh, that's right, I can't call the show Totes today. I got to call it Eclipse. Because this is the only solar eclipse in this area in my lifetime. Unbelievable. So, yeah, that's MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Also, if you'd like to help us out through the PayPal there, you'll become an inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster.
No way!
And the whole world will fall down at your feet like a bunch of sheep. And, you know, you can do whatever you want. The whole world will just acquiesce to whatever you want.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
So that's what will happen for you at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Well, maybe not all of that. You can see the past podcast pictures. By the way, that podcast picture was taken with not only Basil, but with my friend Robert and Christie's dog named Winter. Winter, isn't that a character on Game of Thrones, which I don't watch, which I heavily bashed on the last podcast? Oh, if you want more Eclipse interesting facts, we'll have those are on the last show I did, the special Sunday show, the Secret Sunday show, and you can hear info about that. But Winter and Basil, Winter's the cutest pit bull. She's kind of got like a little boxer in her too. She's maybe half a year old, if that. And the two of them were licking my face. This was at the dog park in Castro Valley. And there's this tiny chihuahua behind us, like wanting to get in on the action. That was a fun time, and it was sort of out of the blue. Christy texts me, hey, you want to take the dogs over to the dog park? And I'm like, yeah, because I'm like that. I say, like, yeah, a lot. So check that picture out. And check out the website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. You can also reach me through the website in many ways, through the email, the phone number, etc., etc. And now the segment.
Yo, the Mike Tip.
I love that.
Well, we have this little thing happen. This little pinky went to the market. Well, that's a nursery rhyme that used to freak me out because it meant my fingers were going to be running off my body, and I didn't want that to happen. So don't ever do that with kids. They might think you're kind of odd, or they might laugh and as you tickle them. Huh? What? So, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Okay, we mentioned that. Now, on to some interesting news that happened, including this sad news about the USS John S. McCain. John McCain, we know him. We wish the best for him. He's fighting brain cancer right now. And he is the namesake for an oil tanker, which was significantly damaged. A battleship that collided with an oil tanker. This is an oil tanker that was 3 times its size. The search continues for it was a destroyer. It wasn't a battleship. A Navy destroyer that's usually based at the 7th Fleet's home port of Yokosuka, Japan. And this article is not very well written. It's sort of jumbled up. But the Washington Post was trying to put this story out, and it said that this ship limped into the Changi Naval Base in Singapore with a large hole in its side at the waterline. The search continues for 10 sailors missing after the collision, which caused significant damage to the hull, flooded nearby compartments, including crew berthing, machinery, and a communications room. This was the second time in 2 months that a Navy destroyer based at the 7th Fleet home port of Yokosuka, Japan, had been involved in a collision at sea. 7 sailors were killed when the USS Fitzgerald collided with a container ship south of Japan in June, and that led to flooding in its berthing compartments. The McCain is an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer equipped with the Aegis combat system. It had been on its way to a routine port visit in Singapore after patrolling in the South China Sea. Shipping data shows the Liberian-flagged merchant vessel Alnic MC was also on its way to Singapore when the ship collided east. The ships collided east of the Strait of Malacca when it was dark, early in the morning. The 550-mile-long strait runs between the Malay Peninsula and the Indonesian island of Sumatra, connecting the Pacific and Indian Oceans. It's one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, but is well-governed, analysts say. So that happened since we last spoke. Also, we have this eclipse happening today in just a little bit. A total solar eclipse crossing the U.S. from coast to coast, starting just after 10 a.m. local time in Oregon and ending just before 3 p.m. in South Carolina. I was told locally here it was going to start a little after 9, and going through 11 o'clock. The last time an eclipse traveled across the entire country was all the way back in 1918, yes, 100 years ago, just about. Veteran eclipse chasers say you should prepare to feel changed forever if this is your first total eclipse. And, you know, we talked last time about the proper ways to watch an eclipse. Don't look directly into the sun. Weather forecasters suggest that Oregon and Tennessee would have favorable skies. Missouri, Nebraska, and South Carolina face the prospect of clouds and storms. And there's going to be heavy traffic. And there was, let's see, but some traffic, the traffic expected had not materialized as of last night, as some people were predicting. Scientists are hoping their studies of this eclipse will lead to important discoveries about the sun's mysterious corona, which burns more than 1 million degrees hotter than the sun's surface. The moon will begin to get in the sun's way over the Pacific Ocean, creating a zone that scientists call totality. You know all about that. Because of planetary geometry, the total eclipse can last less than 1 minute in some places and as long as 2 minutes and 41 seconds in others. Interesting. The longest point of duration is in a small town called McCain, Illinois, with a population of 600. The total solar eclipse will first reach Oregon's coast at 1:15 Eastern Time. Okay, so that is 11:15, right? No, 10:15 local time. Then it will race for the next 90 minutes or so over 13 states. Well, some of you won't even get this show till 10:15 or before 10:15. And if you don't live in one of the states, don't despair. Every American state will experience a partial solar eclipse, although it won't darken the sky like a total eclipse. So there you go. Tesla's CEO Elon Musk is among several major tech industry figures and researchers. They've signed an open letter urging the United Nations to regulate the use of military weapons powered by artificial intelligence. Elon Musk is really taking a position against artificial intelligence going too far. It freaks him out. In the letter from the Future of Life Institute, which Musk is a backer of, the 116 signees expressed their concern over weapons that integrate autonomous technology and call for the UN to establish protections that would prevent an escalation in the department and use of these weapons. Wasn't that what happened in Terminator? The reason why the end of the world happened? I never saw the one with Christian Bale, but autonomous weapons refer to military devices that utilize artificial intelligence in applications like determining targets or to attack or avoid. Last December, the UN's review conference of the Convention on Conventional Weapons, that's a actual, I guess, conference, confirmed plans to begin discussions on autonomous weaponry, and 19 of its members called for an outright ban. This included other notable signees for the letter included the founder at the Google-acquired startup DeepMind, and a couple other guys, I don't know. ClearPath Robotics founder and signee Ryan Gariapi said the immediate concerns over the growth of autonomous military weapons drove him to sign the letter. Internet craziness going on with internet shaming. For example, last Friday night, Kyle Quinn, an assistant professor at the University of Arkansas, was enjoying a pleasant night out with his wife at Crystal Bridges Museum in Arkansas, going to an exhibit, and then there was an inkling that something was amiss. He got a lot of frantic emails. A white nationalist marching in Charlottesville was misidentified on social media as University of Arkansas professor Kyle Quinn, and the hate mail started pouring in. This happened as of last Friday evening, and Quinn, he was at the museum, but looking on the internet and seeing that he was being misidentified as that other Quinn. He says the pictures between he goes, I don't look like this guy at all even. I've got a beard. I understand that some people could see a resemblance there, but anyone that knows me knew right away that that's not me. Yeah, when it goes bad. As we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Getting misidentified and then the internet shaming. That's not good. And then talks here about your personal, your security. You get scared because people are threatening your life, etc. Well, that's the end of the show. Wasn't that exciting? I hope you enjoyed it. Now, next show, we're going to have the wonderful... Who's going to stop by? Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. So enjoy your Eclipse Day, Monday. Next show will be fun, and the sun won't be, like, getting dark at all, hopefully. Hopefully that would be bad if it suddenly just went out. That would be just kind of a bummer. So, yeah, enjoy your day. We will chat soon. Woohoo.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!